NBC News projects that Brad Lander has defeated Dan Goldman in that closely watched race. Let's bring in NBC News chief data analyst Steve Kornacki at the big board. Steve, what are the headlines that you're seeing so far tonight?
Yeah, we've already seen one congressional incumbent go down, Dan Goldman in New York's 10th Congressional District. And Gotti, we may well be seeing a second. Adriano Espaillat, there was just another vote update while you were reading that introduction in the last 30 seconds, and it was a very good update for his challenger, Daria-Liza Avila Chevalier. She's a candidate of the far left, endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America and the mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, and she now leads Espaillat. He is a 10-year incumbent. He is the chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. She now leads him by nearly 2,000 votes, by just over 3 points. Again, this district is based in northern Manhattan, Harlem, East Harlem, Washington Heights. It goes over into the Bronx, and I can just show you the bulk of the vote is in Manhattan. That's sort of Harlem and in northern Manhattan, and this is where Chevalier, you can see she's leading there by 8 points. We just keep getting updates here. They've been getting better and better for Chevalier as the night's been going along. Espaillat is leading over here in the Bronx. It's just a much smaller part of the district. Much of the vote is already counted right there. Each update that we've gotten, especially in the last 20 minutes here, I think has been awfully encouraging if you're Chevalier. So we saw one incumbent go down in the 10th district in New York earlier this evening. A second one is in grave danger. And Gotti, I might add that over in Maryland right now, in the western part of Maryland, a third incumbent. We're still waiting. There's a lot more uncertainty in this one, but certainly April McLean Delaney, she's a freshman Democratic member of Congress. She's being challenged by David Trone. David Trone, a former member of Congress. He used to have this seat. He gave it up. He wants it back. He is challenging the woman who replaced him. He's poured $25 million of his own money into this campaign. And absolutely, you could say at this hour, he has a shot, at least based on how the numbers have looked. So to varying degrees here, there's the possibility of 3 incumbent members of Congress losing this evening in these states. Coming into tonight, this entire year, only 4 incumbent members of Congress had been defeated in primaries. And, by the way, not to complicate it too much, but the polls are going to be closing in Utah in a few minutes, and there might be a couple of incumbents in trouble there as well.
Interesting. Maryland and New York, they're traditionally solid blue states, right? What are the issues that have been propelling voters there, and how much overlap is it with the momentum that the DSA has seen?
I think that's really the headline here, certainly. What we're seeing in New York City tonight. And another way of looking at these results, too, is I say Chevalier, DSA aligned and endorsed by Mamdani. That is also the case in another district in New York City tonight, Claire Valdez. This is an open congressional seat, again, heavily Democratic area. But the question here was sort of taking the temperature inside the Democratic Party. Her opponent was the borough president in Brooklyn, sort of had traditional establishment Democratic credentials. He's been trounced tonight. Valdez, DSA aligned, endorsed by Mamdani, not even close right there. For that matter, again, Goldman, Lander was endorsed by Mamdani and ran very much to the left in this primary, particularly Lander he made Israel an issue. He adopted sort of a maximally, I'd say, left-wing position on Israel, went after Goldman that way, wins big. So we're getting a readout here, certainly, and we've seen this in some other primaries this year. We saw this in a primary in the suburbs of New Jersey. We saw this in Philadelphia. We've seen this in some other places. This energy, this sort of very, I'd say, left-wing energy in the Democratic primary, it's certainly coming to fruition in what we're seeing in New York City tonight.
Yeah, we're out here in Los Angeles, and it almost rings true to what we saw here in the mayor's race as well. From what you're seeing, are there any other trends that would lend voters to leaning more progressive right now?
No, I mean, the question always then sort of arises, how much of this, how broad is this within the Democratic Party? I think that's the conversation that's been taking place this year. And I think these results, especially if something like this holds, those conversations will only accelerate after this. Is this, we saw it in Philadelphia, as I say, we see it here in New York City. How much is it just a phenomenon of those places versus something with a little bit more, sort of breadth within the party? I think one thing we can say, though, is as we go through these primaries and more candidates like this win, their sort of volume within the National Democratic Party, their visibility only increases. And it certainly raises questions about, how that's going to go over with a national audience as more and more folks who, again, the idea of somebody aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America. The idea of several candidates like that winning primaries, getting elected to Congress, is kind of unthinkable in the not too distant past.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big change.
And yet the true test comes during the general election. Steve Kornacki, thanks so much.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.